Sooner than 5. I think I put live in 5 with January 8th. So I'm in Dunlop, Tennessee. I'm at my friend Dina's house. She has the most amazing property. It looks like the Sound of Music. These rolling hills. Are you in the Smoky Mountains?
Near.
She's near the Smoky Mountains. Hey, Michelle. So it's a really beautiful place, and yeah, quite the rolling hills and everything. And the dogs are like having a fantastic time running around. So wanted to share. I'm in Sound of Music land, even though I'm not in Austria. So, all right. So, and I got on earlier than the 5 minutes I just posted. So I'll take a little time chatting. Then we have 4 cats here, and Dina's got a dog. So and we have our 3 dogs with us. So it's a very animal. It's like Dr. Doolittle experience. So hey Paula, hey Michelle, happy to have you here with me live. So, and again, I'm reading January from this new book, 365 Days to Embracing Forbidden Emotions, A Guide to Peace and Fulfillment. Some of you know the first book. I wrote it in 10 weeks, but the concept came to me at least 10 years ago. And then it took me like 3 years. Part of it was me just not doing it, and then part of me was hiring different people to edit it. So this got cranked out. This actually was more fun to write for me. It reflects more of where I'm at now. And the other book is it's got a lot more technical data in it. And I think it's a really important book in this way, that we all learn that there's no emotion that's bad or wrong or stupid. They're just emotions. But when we've learned to say, these are okay to feel, these are not, these are forbidden, these aren't, we lessen our expression of ourselves. And I think most of us have learned, like epically, how to suppress our true feelings and be kind, be pleasing, be the first to forgive, be the good girl, be the good boy, put your big girl pants on, all that BS that's also, unfortunately, unknowingly, I believe, promoted in the personal development world in a lot of ways. That, if there's a problem, it's your fault. You did it instead of understanding there's laws of karma and all kinds of other reasons that events and sequences and things happen in our lives. So, and my mission, if there is one, is to help all of us, myself included, learn to be more self-accepting, self-compassionate, and ultimately even self-loving for the amazing, complex mixture of a human being that we are, both human and spiritual. And what I've found in my own journey with tapping is, as I've tapped through the muck and the trauma in my own life, it's really opened me back up in a deeper and more profound way to a spiritual life. And that's such a gift, because the problem with so many is we do the spiritual bypass thing, like just be the first to forgive, just think happy thoughts, and not allowing the very human part of us to have their full expression. And then that creates spiritual bypass. Like, I've just got to think happy thoughts and everything will be okay. But what I have found in the thousands of sessions that I've done is, as we learn to give full expression to every single emotion, every feeling that we have, if it's hatred, if it's resentment, when you give that full flower, especially when you tap, because then you're involving the brain and you're moving through it, you find liberation on the other side of it, instead of trying to forgive someone or trying to be pleasing or trying to be a good person. You naturally come back to who you truly are by giving full expression to all those parts of us. So don't know where that came from today, but that's where I felt to say. So today is January 8th. So this is kind of funny. Lack of forgiveness causes almost all of our self-sabotaging behavior. Mark Victor Hansen. What if it's really the lack of self-forgiveness that causes my self-sabotage? What if I can learn to forgive, accept, and eventually even love myself? This is so funny. I literally had no idea what I was going to read. That may feel like a big ask of, I'm going to start that one back here. What if I can learn to forgive and accept and eventually even love myself? That may feel like a big ask of myself, but what if this could be possible? What could change for me? One way to discover is to practice this. I see that what lack of self-forgiveness, I can see what lack of self-forgiveness has done for me. Not so good. I like that by learning to forgive myself first, something amazing could happen in my life. How could I do this? Once again, I catch myself getting down on myself, using lack of forgiveness to do it. And I'll explain that. When I catch this, I can interrupt this over time. I bet I'll notice that I'm less self-critical and more self-accepting. This naturally leads to self-love without me having to try to love myself more. Thought for the day. Today I can interrupt the bully in my brain when it yammers in my ear. This has the power to change how I see myself each time I do this. I actually want to read this again because I was kind of stumbling through little words there. Hey, Joanne. So Michelle, Paula, Joanne. Okay, January 8th. Lack of forgiveness causes almost all of our self-sabotaging behavior. Mark Victor Hansen. So I want to say something about this before I read this. It's funny, I feel emotion as I say this. That's a nice, kind of a nice thought in a way and kind of not. I think it can be a perpetually self-abusing thought. Lack of forgiveness causes almost all our self-sabotaging behavior. So once again, if you're sabotaging yourself in your way, and let me say, if you are protecting yourself in some way, that's what self-sabotage is. It's actually on an unconscious level, some way that we're trying to protect ourselves. So when we see it from that vantage point, it's like I self-sabotage all the time. I'm such an idiot. You know, all the beating that we all give to ourselves over and over and over again. But how this can get misperceived to me is I've got to forgive someone who's harmed me. You cannot, the problem is most of us try to go to forgiveness before we're ready. We try to forgive too soon without allowing our hurts to be given expression, without allowing our feelings to be given expression. And when you give expression to your hurt, to your sense of betrayal, to feeling rejected, to any of those things, you find liberation on the other side. The problem in even the spiritual world and the personal development world is like, be the first to forgive. You know, come on, like put your big girl pants on, big boy pants on. Be the bigger person. I say screw that shit. Because what that does is that just doubles down on ourselves. And then we feel bad, even worse about ourselves, because we're struggling to forgive someone who has betrayed us. Instead of going into the betrayal, going into the, like, I can't forgive this person, but you tap through it. And as you tap, you're giving that expression and then it releases. It releases over time. And then you don't have to try to forgive or try to be the bigger person or try to do something. It comes naturally because that's who we are. But we have to release the muck so that we have space for that. Okay, so I had to say that because that quote that's why I've put these quotes in here, because they get so misperceived and I just feel like I want to explain that further. So, what if it's really the lack of self-forgiveness that causes my self-sabotaging behavior? And remember, self-sabotaging behavior is ways we're unconsciously trying to protect ourselves. What if I can learn to forgive, accept, and eventually even love myself? That may feel like a big ask of myself, but what if this could be possible? What could change for me? One way to discover it is to practice this. I can see what lack of self-forgiveness has done for me. Not so good. I like that by learning to forgive myself first, something amazing could happen in my life. How do I do this? Once again, I catch myself getting down on myself, using lack of forgiveness to do it. So we end up using lack of self-forgiveness to double down and hurt ourselves more. And that's not to judge yourself for that. You couldn't do it any other way in the culture that we live in that promotes that. So it's still go, wow, eventually start to learn, wow, I'm really beating myself up, like not forgiving myself. And we start to notice it more, which helps us to release it. When I catch this, I can interrupt it. And over time, I bet I'll notice I'm less self-critical and more self-accepting. This naturally leads to self-love without me having to try to love myself more. Just trying. It's a pain in the ass. Thought for the day. Today, I can interrupt the bully in my brain when it yammers in my ear. This has the power to change how I see myself each time I do it. And I want to say one other thing about trying before I make this like a half-hour thing. Trying does work over time. We try to do something. We try, doesn't work. We regroup. We try again, doesn't work. We regroup. And the trying incrementally, if we're intentional about it, is the way we learn. It keeps getting us there. That's different than I've got to try to forgive someone who I'm super pissed off at. I've got to try to forgive my ex-husband or my ex-wife who betrayed me. I've got to try to forgive this person for robbing me. I've got to try to forgive someone who threw me under the bus. You don't have to try. In that circumstance, I would highly recommend that you don't try. I would recommend you do the opposite, which might sound counterintuitive, to go into rant tapping it like that jackass and let yourself have your truth. But the caveat is to tap, to rant it out. And I say this because I've done this myself and I do it with clients, but I found this by doing it with myself. When I finally landed and talked about my parents, I was like, I hate them. And when I let myself hate them, but tap through it, literally, I felt completely released from it. And maybe not completely, that's probably too strong a word, but I felt such a shift. And I literally feel genuine love and compassion for my parents now. But it's because I went into the darkness, let's call it that, the truth. So Barbara, nice to see you. Joanne, Paula, Michelle. It was a little longer one today. Obviously, I had more to say. Make sure I clear these things up. So nice to have you all here, and take good care. And hey, Michelle, I gave you a reply to that request you had, and really great question. So I hope you find that helpful. All right, everyone, take good care. Much love to you all. Coming to you from Dunlap, Tennessee. Bye for now.